Hello everyone, welcome back to our HIC Talk stage. Coming next, Björn Nilse from HRS with the topic How the Pandemic Reshaped the Corporate Lodging Strategy. If you have any questions, send them in our live stream and we will do a Q&A at the end and have fun.
Thank you, Lia. Thank you. Yeah, also from myself, a very warm welcome to the audience and good morning, first of all. And within the next couple of minutes, I will actually present you the new megatrends, what we will see within the next couple of months, but also years to come in the corporate lodging area. So before we look into the future, let's have a quick look, how it has been done in the past. So in 2019 is not really long away, but in this years, the lodging programs were actually really driven quite hard by cost savings, traveler satisfaction, and program compliance. And throughout the pandemic, but also in the future, we see a huge trend towards, first of all, obviously due to the corona pandemic, risk management and duty of care. This is also what we launched initiatives actually to make this data transparent. The initiatives, what many hotel partners have been done throughout the years, in terms of cleanliness, in terms of hygiene standards, to make it really transparent. And it's all about transparency of really making sure the corporate travelers are actually being able to travel safe and free of any risk in the hospitality industry. So even now, at the current time, over 80% of all hotels which are in corporate lodging programs of global corporations are actually having the clean and safe label within our partners, either self-expected or even expected through an external auditor. But there's also a second mega trend coming up, and as Antonia just mentioned it in the previous live stream here, the sustainability kicks really in at the moment. So we started this Green Stay initiatives also with our corporate lodging programs, and I will come to this a little bit more later, but this will be a trend that overtakes the duty of care requirements over the next couple of months, and it will be this main key topic of the year 2022. But there's another way, also what travelers want to see how to travel in the near future, and this is really the digital end-to-end processes, what we would like to implement together with the hospitality industry. Because it's not just basically the normal way of booking, reservation, check-in, pre-authorization, check-out, and expense. It's far more of actually having also a very good in-house, in-hotel, in-apartment experience, what the traveler wants to see seamless without any obstacles. And fair enough, there are still some breaking points, some hurdles, but I also see a big shift in the industry of really opening up for this, thinking about new ways, of new concepts of allowing check-in, check-outs, even contactless, touchless, without any reception. So I think there's much more to come to see in the future in this regard. So when we are looking into okay, here we go. In the future of business travel, I think the good thing to see is we see positive signs of the returning of the business travel. I think when I have been on meetings in the last couple of weeks with either hotel chains, individual hotel partners, we all see since August, September, business travel is back. It's starting slowly to recover, but we see really quite of growth numbers, and it's a big, large corporation are actually starting to travel again. Then we really see a huge lift up in the contracted hotels. At least for the German area, I can say that for granted. But we also see that business travel will be probably completely reinvented in the 2020s. What do I mean with that? We see at least 5 big megatrends. Sustainability, AI and digitalization, remote work, the COVID impact and the cost consciousness are the things that we have to look at. Sustainability, I will come back later, but AI and digitalization is one of also the key buzzwords I think we hear in many industry talks. It's not about digital check-in, it's also to make sure that we have AI-driven booking processes in order to actually give the corporate not the full list of all hotels of the destination, sondern basically give them a choice of the selected hotels next to the needs of the corporate customer to make the booking process as easy as possible. A huge trend is also remote work and business reality, the new business reality I would call it. Different business models, how to work in the future are in place. Some are thinking of 4 working days a week. Some are thinking about a hybrid model of saying you can work remote and you have to come to the office on a certain days. Some are actually starting having completely remote working possibilities. And also most of the big corporations are thinking, do I really need a headquarter with 3 floors to be rented every month, which costs you a lot of money, and rather having maybe flexible working hours, flexible desk, and completely different working structures in my own office setup in the future. So therefore, we're also thinking about how we can become to this megatrends and offer basically solutions for that. Solutions for regrouping, we call it in the project work as a so-called new work, what we will launch also soon in 2022, where we allow corporate travelers to book flexible working spaces for their needs, for a couple of hours, for a day, even for a week, for regrouping for a certain time of period in co-working spaces. On the COVID-19 impact, I think once we have done all the clean initiatives, it's just constantly really to communicate. Yeah? So basically, I think we do quite a lot in the hospitality industry. I think where we always struggle is really to make sure that we are basically communicated to the guest. Yeah, so that really staying in hotels is safe, and there's no obstacles on this. But I also think due to the next couple of months, we will see that the green state trend will overcome all the COVID measurements as we come back to the new normal, and we will have to obviously live with this COVID topic for quite some long time, as it will not go away. And cost consciousness is always something where you say you have corporations which are the winners of the crisis, and you have also corporations which are the losers of the crisis. Having said that means that there also is a different pattern of how you spend money within the hospitality industry on events, on group bookings, or on transient rate. So having seen that, we see a trend at, first of all the people which have face-to-face contact, which are working maybe in sales, also in management, they are back on travel, but everything else will still take some time and will come in the years 2022 back to the new normal. However, we also do expect that due to the new working reality, also using Zooms, using different other techniques, where we think at least 20 to 30% of the business travel will not come back based on 2019 figures. So when we then look back to the challenges of the corporations in these days, it really is in terms of the matching sustainability to its CO2 footprint. So it's not about basically having a green hotel from one day to the other. It's about, first of all, thinking of how can I basically make this transparent? How can I make transparent how much CO2 footprint I have per room? Because obviously all the corporations, and we know lodging is roughly about 20% of the complete CO2 footprint of travel. So airline and air transportation does the most of it. But at least it's a complete journey what we're looking at, from the starting point with a taxi to the airport, or maybe a train, it's better basically, to the flight, to the accommodation, and the way back. So it's always to think about the full journey and not just of the single piece of a hotel stay. It's also basically having transparency of the program. So leakage, booking basically outside of the program is one of the big problems for them. And therefore we really make sure that we give them the transparency and also have data models behind this and reportings to make sure that the negotiated hotels are really then also receiving these bookings. Next to that, also we see that project-based accommodation will be a future trend, not only having like a 1 year long RFP. No, it's basically something where companies really going for 1, 2, or 3 months in a certain destination and need a bunch of hotels, need a bunch of accommodations. And this is where we also need to learn how we bring in this flexibility to serve the customer needs. So therefore we identified for us 5 key layers: savings, safety, security, satisfaction, and sustainability. And all these topics I will explain in a very few minutes. Coming up to savings, and it's not about savings of actually getting a room rate at €1.50 cheaper than the year before. It's about a mixture of basically different rate models, of saying we have a standard transient rate, which is throughout the year bookable, which is negotiated. And then we have also in this business mix some other rate types. Some like dynamic rates, some also some consortia rates. So basically it's a bundle of different rate types to the needs of the customer. So therefore in maybe top destinations, you are going rather for a static rate, where maybe in long tail destinations or in destinations where we have smaller volume, you either prefer a consortia rate or a dynamic rate. But it's not only about negotiating something, but it's really making sure, and this is what drives adoption, also savings for the customer, of making sure that these rates are, first of all, correctly loaded, correctly audited. It means every requirement what I negotiated are actually also in the program, then basically bookable. Yeah, and this is why we monitor it through audits and also through availability checks to really make sure that this is what happened, what negotiated is either online, on paper, or on all kind of sorts of contracts is actually then or physically at the moment of time when the corporate customer requires an accommodation in the destination also bookable. The second layer is the topic of, here we go. It's not moving, here we go. It's the topic of clean and safe. And I think we all have done a great job. I have to say this was one of the first initiatives what we have launched last year, and there was a huge response. And I will just say congratulations that you had the time really to implement these measurements, and I know how hard it was because in every county, in every country, there were different measurements, and we are really trying to make it possible to have a certain standard, have a certain mechanism in order to make the global traveler be able to judge themselves what kind of measurements have been integrated into the system. It's still available for hotels which have not done that yet. As I said, 80% of the RFPs, of the hotels in these RFPs are actually having one of these labels, and it is still one of the key requirements if you want to be in one of the global lodging programs. What we also have integrated over the time now is really this theme of security. Yeah, thinking about you being a global travel manager around the world, how you're based in Germany, how would you know if you negotiate any properties in countries where you don't have any local basic knowledge about the security standards? So here we're working with a tech partner called GeoSure, where we have integrated their data models of saying, okay, every hotel gets a so-called GeoScore based purely on data. Data, what it means, it's data from, in Germany, let's say, called the Bundeskriminalamt, called the BKA. It's also data from the UN or for any other associations of making sure that we are coming or fulfilling the needs of the corporate customers of knowing what is going on in the neighborhood. So it's not the security score of a hotel, it's a security score where the hotel is being located. And it's just purely based on, as I said, data points, and really caters the needs of different traveler segments, but also gives you an idea how is maybe the medical health system in this region, or how is the crime statistic, and how we're looking at theft or any other topics. On number 4, we see the topic of customer satisfaction, also one of our key topics we're looking at. And customer satisfaction is not about just a rating. Rating on Google or Trust You or any other scores. It's far beyond this. It's basically experience of the guest when he is in the hotel. And we are always looking at ways of really making sure traveler satisfaction doesn't really have to cost anything. Yeah, you can do really good things in terms of really making flexible booking conditions in there. Have flexible cancellation policy also, what is really determined for corporate travelers, because business plans can change over time. But it's also of having maybe free amenities, free upgrades available, which are not cost expensive. They are maybe also available. You maybe give them to the guest, but you don't display them, yeah, to the corporate traveler. How shall you know if it's integrated in the program, or he doesn't know about this? You can also think about product bundles of saying, okay, how can we include breakfast, parking, Wi-Fi, or other services in the rates, and really making this whole package of the accommodation a really well-worthy stay. On the number 5 of the topics, we see, and this is something where we have quite a lot of feedback from the corporations, the whole topic of sustainability. And I'm very glad actually that I have seen a live stream just from Antonio before, talking about Maves, about all these things, what they are doing. And I think this is really something where we can't turn back. Yeah, this is something what is really on the heart of everybody now to see what is the next step. Yeah, and I quite often see that hotel partners are thinking already 2 steps ahead. Yeah, but I think we are at the moment needs to first of all create some transparency. And this is also why I'm saying, first of all, let's really make sure that we have somebody in the hotel industry, on the hotel property level, on the chain level, who is really taking care about the topic of sustainability. Second topic is really to have the data available. So what are my consumptions on water, on waste, on energy? Sometimes I see in my talks and the one-to-ones where this is really the first biggest challenge, yeah, of having that. And then secondly, once we have all this data, what is the next steps? Yeah, where can we save something, as Antonio mentioned here, with better showers, which are saving 4,000 liters per year, per room. Yeah, I mean, this is a huge improvements. But I think we first have to look at the data, and the data tells us something where we can basically work on. Yeah, but what we do with our initiatives is also to benchmark the data with the given destination, because requirements are also vary from one destination to the other. So if you have a hotel, I don't know, somewhere in Spain where the air conditioner is running throughout the year, at least 8-9 months, then obviously your energy consumption is much, much higher as you may be in Berlin. Yeah, because then you have much, much more cooler days. So it's really also in our system based on where is the hotel located, how big it is, how much open space we also have in terms of lobby areas, in terms of meeting facilities and so on, and to really making sure of giving this data transparent, and not only to the hotel but also to the corporations, in order to really identify at the end of the year how much CO2 footprint they have consumed on the terms of lodging, and what will we do in order to improve and to work towards the goal of having really a zero carbonized footprint emission in the future. So, as is also one of my favorite topics, I really want to encourage you to also join a session in the afternoon on the main stage of Martin Biermann, because he is our CPO at HRS and has really done a tremendous work of actually implementing all these measurements, and gives you some great insights why it is so important to work on the Green Stay initiatives, on the topic of sustainability, and also gives you some insights what are the implications for the corporates and for the corporate sides and for everybody within this industry. Having said that, thank you very much for my short intro. And Lia, are there any questions?
No, there are no questions in our live chat. Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
And exciting to hear new information from Martin later this day. And yeah, thank you for being here, and have a good day here at the Harbor Club.
Welcome, thank you. Thank you, everyone.